Hello everybody, I'm InTheLittleWood, also known as Martin, and welcome back to the channel. So in the last video, we discussed the various different factions in Hytale, those being the types of NPCs that have allegiances, lore, and they build their own communities. Today though, we're talking about the creatures in the world that are a little bit more passive, for the most part, and a bit more of an instinctive bunch, known as animals. So here we go, it's like a game show. Let's try and find every single animal that's been shown to us so far, starting with the announcement trailer. In the opening shot, we can see some blackbirds. Their species is currently unknown, but they're flying around there up in the sky doing their thing. Next up, we have got the iconic fox and rabbit run, but thinking about it, is this a chase? Like, is the fox actually trying to hunt the rabbit down? Also, why is the rabbit Hellboy? The reason I ask about this predator-prey vibe is because in the blog post about NPCs, Hytale did actually mention specifically that working on systems that allow animals to interact with each other in interesting ways too is a thing. So, there you go, air quotes all over that one. Opening up on the farm scene, and pause immediately, because all the way over on the right-hand side, you can see a good old Twitter bird. I don't actually know what species or type of bird that is, but there you go. It does have me thinking as well actually about any social media integration with Hytale. Like, imagine being able to publish a short clip that you created in the movie tool, or take a screenshot in game, or when you finish an avatar that you've created and you've painstakingly chosen the colors and the eyes and the shirts and everything, being able to basically post it almost like a brand new avatar. It would just give players an ability to share the game out to more people, and it's good advertising for them. Following this, we have got the shot of the chicken coop. Now there's a bunch of mother hens here and a few little chicks as well, and they did make mention of this animal specifically in the blog post, saying that they'll have specific behaviors, like the chicks will follow the mother hen, and that the grown chickens will actually get jealous and guard their eggs. So expect to get pecked if you try and steal an egg from one of the chickens that isn't familiar with you. Actually popping them inside of one of these coops and domesticating them a little bit will apparently make them more friendly towards you, so it seems quite interesting. Kind of leading on from my question in the last video, I guess we can now confirm that taming is going to be a thing inside of Hytale, which is awesome. And that leads us very nicely to the corgi. This is probably like the first known tameable pet inside of Hytale that we were shown, and I do wonder what approach they're going to have to this, the Hypixel team, in regards to how things like dogs and cats are going to spawn in the wild and how you tame them. Because obviously in Minecraft we have wolves, you give them a bone, that's all you need to do. With cats, they would actually completely change their entire form. They would go from an ocelot to a cat, and that was always a bit weird. I know they've now rectified that, but I do wonder what route they're going to go down. Will we just be walking through the woods one day and find a lonely fat-faced pug who's lost his friends, and we can take him home and look after him? Anyway, moving onwards now, and inside of the hut we have got our first cat shown off, having a good old clean in the background. In this shot, if you were focused on the two adventurers running through the rain in the woods, then you might have missed a sneaky owl over on the left hand side of the screen. Look at that head spin. Alright, get real quick with the pause key, because it is rapid fire zone time, and stop! There you go. Alright, first and foremost, inside of the Enchanted Forest, we can see two deer. And we seem to have both male and female variants here. The horns are the dead giveaway. It's probably not even worth asking this, but will this game have breeding? I'm almost 100% certain that that will be a yes. I guess the little chicks from earlier on are a little bit of evidence of that, but not for all animals, of course. Now, in this next frame, you might have been distracted by the Quebec, because of course that was a new, shiny, interesting race of character that we've never seen before. You might not have noticed that right there in the middle of the screen, there's a froggy. It's not a mushroom, it's a frog. Next up, we're seeing them take a splash into the icy waters and a very brisk paddle for the polar bears. Then as we get our first glimpse at savannah, there are the same blackbirds in the sky, but down on the ground, you can notice a load of antelope running along. We've actually been given a much clearer glimpse of these in the blog post about NPCs, as well as this animated GIF over on their Twitter page, and it seems as though they never travel anywhere alone. That's smart. Now, I could be wrong about this. These might just be two weirdly shaped rocks, or what I think I'm seeing here, just ahead of the antelopes, are large vultures, just by the cliff edge. What do you think? Next up, we charge into battle on a ram, properly dedicated to its stride. Yes, I said dedicated because it's ram, wham, wham, lol. But anyway, you're charging into the battle on the back of a ram, and that is our first glimpse at how taming can actually be extended into actually being able to ride certain types of animals. I'm assuming this will only extend to animals that are large enough for us to sit on the back of, and this looks really cool. And we should probably stop for a moment to also talk about the Yeti. I guess it's kind of straddling that line between monster and animal, and I would like to do a video on monsters at a later date. But you can see already that he's a pretty tough customer. He picks up chunks of the earth and lobs them at your face, but I'm not convinced that he's any kind of zone boss. I just think he's one of the larger monsters that you will encounter whilst you're out and about in the regular world. Now it's time for a change of temperature and a change of pace. Desert Island. You're there with your crew. You're taking a well-deserved break from plundering and killing people to enjoy a cozy campfire, and joining them is a yellow and blue parrot. I'm guessing that these will come in all sorts of beautiful colours and varied styles, and the fact that it sits next to the player and on what seems to be a very specific pedestal is probably a safe bet that these are tameable as well. Can you imagine if different animals, once you've tamed them, have various different bonuses that they bring to the table? Like a dog could sniff out certain types of ores, maybe a parrot could squawk if there was treasure nearby or if an enemy was approaching. I could see them doing some really fun and silly things with this, so fingers crossed. And now we take a dive into the most densely populated area of Hytale, not just for the coral, but for the animals as well. Are you ready? Let's go. Number 1, Nemo, the clownfish. Number 2, Dory, the... I'm going to butcher this, the Paracanthus hepatus. There you go, I tried that one out. Number 3, the pufferfish. From here on out, I don't know the specific species of these fish, but feel free to let me know in the comment section below. So these aren't the scientific names, I'm just simply going to go with number 4, greenfish. Number 5, amberfish. Number 6, zebrafish. Number 7, brownfish. That's purple and brown for prawn. Number 8, starfish. That one is a real name. Looks pretty inactive, but I do wonder if they'll actually move around the world a little bit. And number 9, crabs. Towards the end of this shot, actually, we do get our first glimpse in-game of a moray eel. This is actually one of the animals that was revealed later on via some concept art, alongside the manowar and also the piranha. In the next shot with the pirate ship, we see more of the same, but let's not overlook the 2 giant hammerhead sharks. They're circling the wooden beams. You don't want to go over there. There do also seem to be 2 other types of fish on the far right, but I feel as though it might be a little bit of a trick on my eyes. I'm seeing one is purple completely, and the other one seems to be red and purple, but maybe this is a Yanni and Laurel situation. Continuing through the trailer, and now we've got the minecart jump scene, and whilst he's in midair, we hit pause, and you can see that we get a glimpse at some bats suspended upside down from the ceiling, and a few flying across the screen as well. Now it looks as though we are in Zone 4, the fire, the brimstone, and what we can only assume is an animal known as an ember wolf dead center on the screen. We actually get this name from the model maker preview that we get later on in the trailer, and it's actually listed off there with all the other animals. Spiders are in this caving system, and they are already giving me the heebie-jeebies. It's very likely that there'll be baby ones too, unless those are actually people inside of those cocoons that are trying to break free. What a horrible day they're having. So now we've arrived at the aforementioned model maker scene, and right inside of here there are a few more animals that we can tick off from the list on the left hand side. Firstly, bears. And since the trailer released, we have actually had some new images of the bears inside the game. If you have a little look at this screenshot right here, it's from the website, and over on the far right hand side you can see there's a bear chilling out right there by a couple of rams. But then just a little bit closer to the camera, do you see those 2 tiny adorable little brown blobs? They're not poop, I think they might be tiny little cubs, and I think that mama bear is about to go ham on those rams if they even think of looking in their direction. And then we have the character that you can see being animated on the screen right now. It is known as a cactee, C-A-C-T-E-E, and it's hard to decide where to place this right now without any more information. I would probably say it lives more in the monster category, although I can't see any reason as to why it couldn't become a faction if it actually has a little bit of a story to it. It definitely doesn't fit in the animal genre though. So for now, let's just say undetermined, alright? Moving on from here, we have got the live scripting portion of the trailer, and we can see that our Clop has been transformed into a little pigoo. And to round things out, at the end of the trailer, we have got the Void Dragon. This one again is half monster, half animal in my eyes. It's a bit of a hybrid, because obviously it's probably created by Varin, but it is still an animal. It's hard to know, isn't it? I guess what we could say is dragons. Dragons is an animal. And I think that just about does it for the trailer. Let's move on now to the website. We'll start with the screenshots from the media section, and we'll work on the concept art afterwards. So first up, we have got a frost dragon. Same sort of topic as the Void Dragon, a little bit of a muddy area, but I will let it slide for this video. And you can see our 3 heroes look hella shook that this big boy right here is screaming some Ariana Grande at the top of its lungs. Following this, we've got a pack of Trorks, and they are backed up by a pack of wolves. Their collars would indicate that they've been tamed, and those teeth look sharp. So earlier on, we spoke about the antelopes, and we mentioned how they don't typically run around alone. They're always in a group, or they're always with the herd to try and stay safe. That is because saber-toothed tigers are confirmed in Hytale. They seem to hunt these guys down, and from this image right here, it doesn't look as though they like humans so much either. It'll be really interesting though to see whether one of these playable races in the game will actually have some kind of affinity with animals. Like imagine an attribute that basically makes them like Dr. Dolittle. They maybe can't talk to animals, but everyone's chill with them. Maybe another bonus is that they have an easier time taming them. But for now, that's it for the screenshots. And you thought that it was safe, right? Dragons are on the overworld, so dip beneath the sea and you're going to be safe. Wrong. There is already concept art of a kraken. It's lurking down there in the depths, and it looks humongous compared to the player that's sketched in this drawing. Now, I know we've already spoken about rabbits, but it does seem as though the quebecs actually like to take them as pets. Whether that's solely for companionship or whether they train them up to battle alongside them. Can you imagine a quebec riding a rabbit into battle? Oh, it's cute but terrifying. So in a previous video, we discussed the Slothians. Now, don't worry, I'm not about to identify the Slothians as an animal. They are very much so a faction inside of the game. But what I did mention previously, but didn't elaborate on, is that in Zone 4, they live on one of the lower levels at level 3. The reason for that, and I never divulged any more information about it, is the fact that on the lowest level, there are dinosaurs. There's not just dinosaurs, but there are other oddities down here as well. We don't currently have any in-game demonstrations of them, which is a bit of a shame. But if you take a little look at the artwork right here, we can see some sketches of the cave rex. And what's interesting about this animal is that it seems to be sporting a light on its head, very similar to a real-life anglerfish. That same property can be found as well on the raptors. So that makes me wonder, just how dark is this lower level going to be? Because typically the anglerfish uses it because it is down so far in the ocean that natural sunlight just doesn't reach there. So that has me wondering, is the lower level going to require us to have a torch on us at all times? Or are we just going to fumble around in the dark and work our way towards the light, only to get munched on? There's only one more dinosaur shown off so far, and that is the Dimetrodon. This guy's really cool, actually. He roams around on all fours, he's got a pretty spiny back, and he has got some tough looking skin, dude. Tough. Now, with it being a jungle, we've got a rather unimpressed macaque that fits right in. And then there's this. I can't tell if this is supposed to be a skeletal thing or if it's just like, I don't know, old and decrepit, but the prehistoric chicken looks real weird. There's only a few animals left to go now in the concept art, and our next one comes alongside the fawn faction. Similarly to how the Trorks had their regular wolves inside of the forest, it seems as though these guys have snow wolves, or dire wolves, whatever you want to call them. They're there. It'll be really interesting to see if there's any differences between these two types of wolves other than their colorings. Like maybe because of the environments that they inhabit, maybe they behave a little bit differently. Alright, so the announcement trailer, done. Screenshots, done. Concept art, done. Let's move on to the blog posts. So at the very end of the NPC blog post that we've been covering in the last few videos, it rounds things out with a standard pigeon, which is just sort of plodding along, doing its thing, probably looking for your lunch money, and then also a very sly looking snake. A week or two later, and we had the Happy Holidays blog post, and inside of this we got a video demonstration of the various different weather and fog effects inside of the game. And inside of the first scene of this, we saw an adorable sleeping yak. This looks like the same one actually that the Turbo Chicken is riding on in the super secret Easter egg page on the website. Then they round out the post with a Happy Holidays card, and on the left you can see a quebec riding a turkey, a chocobo. I don't know what that is. We're almost there, just one more blog post to go, and then a Twitter image as well. Moving on to the world generation post now, and in the image of a hero diving into the depths of the ocean, there's of course the jellyfish down at the bottom, which is the manowar we discussed earlier. Nice to see it inside of the game, but at the cave's entrance you may also notice that there is a clam. Often forgotten that this is an animal, it's right there in plain sight. And that takes us to our final animal from the website, and that is the magma snail. I reckon we'll see a ton of snails throughout the world of Hytale and Orbis, and this is just one of the many variants of it, I would guess. And this actually might be one of my favorite animals that we've seen so far. Like, genuinely, I'm not even joking about that. Look how badass that shell looks. It looks like something out of God of War. You know, if you stepped on this Kratos snail, that it would somehow regenerate and come and destroy you. Attention! Martin from the future here. Hi, everybody. So just as I was finishing up this script, I have just noticed one more animal hidden within this very blog post that we're talking about now. So we've briefly spoken about taming and riding in this video, and I'm sure one animal in particular came to everybody's mind. And yes, I'm happy to reveal that horses are in Hytale. Unless it's got some really strange human face on the front of it hidden behind that rock, then it's something else entirely. But you can see a good old Equestria boy hanging out right there. Hi, hello, it's Martin from the future again, except this time not in audio form, but in full video form as well. Well, yes, I am wearing my brand new merchandise. There might be a link down in the description. I'll probably forget. But just whilst I'm away on my wedding and currently now waiting for my honeymoon period, there has been one brand new animal revealed inside a Hytale today on Twitter or Instagram, and that was the meerkat. It's going to be residing in Zone 2, the Howling Sands. They look really cool. I really like the detail on their textures. Can't wait to see them. And back to the video. Bye! And just for one last time, it's me, Martin from the future again. Hello. So I'm back from my wedding and honeymoon now, which was great. And whilst I was away, Hytale were really sneaky and they actually published one more blog post whilst I was gone, specifically about wildlife and animals inside of Hytale and actually residing in Zone 1, the Emerald Grove. So let's discuss them. So already in this video, we have actually discussed the topic of bears because we've seen a couple of images of them. But now we have a little bit more clarity on their temperament. So they're said to be highly territorial and will actually act defensively when they're approached, but surprisingly to me at least, they won't actually attack you unless you refuse to get out of their way or you directly provoke them. End quote. We've also been told as well that they will only guard a certain radius of area, so it's basically what they deem their territory. So if you get chased by one and you get outside of that radius, they will actually leave you alone and go back to chilling out. Although sometimes it might be them fleeing from us, because apparently bears will actually flee from you on occasion if they are too severely wounded, because the quote right here reads, "Bears like to sleep and, if wounded, will try to flee to find somewhere to recuperate." Now this is really interesting to me because it's not often you see in video games NPCs having that level of complexity in terms of kind of like, you know, a flight or fight sort of scenario and instinct, so I kind of have to applaud this one. So obviously in the announcement trailer we got a side profile of an orange frog over by the Quebecs, but now we've actually been given a glimpse at another colour variation and also a look at their movement animations as he hops along the little forest, and we also get the really creepy bulgy eye blink as well. Ugh. Next up, we have got ducks, which according to the Hytale team fall into the category of ambient creatures. These being creatures that are non-aggressive, probably, and they likely have nothing to loot from them other than maybe a little bit of food, but I imagine that's going to be about it. Their main purpose and their sole purpose, really, for the developer side of things, is just to breathe a little bit more life into the world and give that sense of realism and give a bigger plethora of races inside of the game. Another pan shot of the woods, and we can see some sparrows flapping about the place. Again, they kind of look like bumblebees. I don't really understand how those little wings keep such a big body up, but who am I to say? And then if we head into the underground area, we get our first sight of rats, and they look gross, and that's how they're meant to look. So they're going to be actually a kind of familiar sight, I would assume, in the first layers as you head beneath the earth. And they are actually quite sizable as well. Like, their tail reaches the height of one block, and their body isn't too far behind. So bear in mind, if a player is probably going to be 2 blocks tall, this rat is actually kind of massive and a bit scary. We get a new screenshot of the bats as well from a head-on perspective, and then we also get a side profile of a pigeon in flight, and this image is really striking for some reason. I almost want to use it for the thumbnail of this video, and I very well may do. Other than that, we can also get a sight of the spiders and how they actually do appear not only in caves but on the overworld, and they can climb. Oh no. And that's all we get in the wildlife blog post for Zone 1. I'll be sure to keep covering these blog posts as and when they release, of course, and maybe when we get closer to the release of the beta, when we get an actual definitive date, if there have been enough new creatures revealed since then we might do like one final video summarising them just ahead of the game's release. But anyway, back to the past for you lot. See ya! And then that leads us to this very day. Barely 3 days ago, on Valentine's Day, we had the most recent animal reveal, and that was an additional breed of dogs. Now, I don't know what kind of breed this dog is, and I posted it on Twitter as well to get people to educate me, and they didn't seem to know either. They didn't really recognise the colourings of it, so if anyone can identify this pupper, then go for it. And there you have it, every single animal that I can think of inside of Hytale so far. And just before we round things out today, I want to make a special mention about somebody who created, I guess, like a moving fan art over on Twitter. The guy goes by the name of Alex Bro Animation, and they seem to be just as excited about Hytale as the rest of us, and they seem to be someone that is quite proficient in both Minecraft and Cinema 4D, and has created a ton of character models and weapon rigs and everything over the years, and they've thrown together this animal. How cool is that? Is anybody else seeing Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest? I love it, it's great. Be sure to go and show it some love on Twitter. There'll be a link down in the description to that post. Hytale themselves have already seen it and said how much they love it as well, and this is just another demonstration of why I think they should give us the model maker early, because we as a community could very much keep ourselves happy and busy, just trying out creating things, prepping ourselves for when the game releases, figuring out how the blocks work and everything else like that. It's so cool, and I would love to see them take some of the fan creations ahead of the game, tidy them up a little bit, and throw them into Orbis on launch. So for now, that is everything. Did I miss any animals? Let me know in the comment section below. And while you're down there as well, be sure to answer this question. What animals have you not seen in Hytale yet that you would love to? And more importantly, which one do you want to tame? I can't wait to see some of these answers and to be able to highlight some of them. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you do want to discuss Hytale to any lengths at all, then we do actually have a dedicated chat for it over on my Discord. Discord.gg/InTheLittleWood is the URL if you want to just type that in, makes it easier for yourselves. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you never miss one of these update videos. And if you want to, click on one of these videos on the screen right now and learn more about Hytale than you currently know. And just as a little heads up as well, as this video publishes, I'm actually away on my honeymoon. I've just gotten married. So basically don't expect any new Hytale content until the early March period. So if any new blog posts come out whilst I'm away, I of course can't cover them. But anyway, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.